Okay, hi everybody. Hi, it's good to see everybody here. Let me see how many people are here. Wow, we've got quite a few in the participating today, so that's great. Thank you for coming, definitely. We're going to start right at the top of the hour, but I want to wait just a few minutes just to let a few more people come into the room, and then we're going to get started. Okay, so give us just a moment, and then we're gonna powerfully get started. Okay, so. Oh, Jamie. Jamie's from Australia. Okay, great. Good to have you here. All people from Atlanta, Chicago. Hi. Jane is from, let me see, Jane, do you see where you're from? Where are you from? California. California. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, welcome, welcome, everybody. Glad to have you here. I guess we'll get started now because we have quite a lot of things to kind of to get through today. So I want to make sure we can get through everything. My name is Arlette Beauchamps, and the name of this seminar is Introduction to Singing. And this is Introduction to Singing, but with an emphasis on kind of unlocking your full potential. So and before we even get started, I want to be responsible for something, and that is that I'm just getting over strep throat. You can probably hear it. So my voice is a little froggy and cracky, and I apologize for that, but I just wanted to be responsible to let you know what was going on with my voice instead of, in case I start coughing or something. Um, I think I have like a couple more days before I can kick this to the curb. So anyway, because of this, I asked some of my students to come in and to show you some of the warm-ups, because obviously I can't do them today. So we're going to do that. And this is going to be like a 45-minute seminar. And at the end, I'm going to give you a chance to ask some questions, but I'm not going to take them throughout the seminar, just so we can make sure we can get through everything. So what we're going to do about that is, if you can just like put any questions that you have in the chat. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Put whatever questions you have in the button that says Q&A, not in the chat. Okay, because if you put it in the chat, I'm not going to be able to find them really fast at the end. So say we're talking about something, you have a question, throw it in the Q&A part right then so you don't forget, okay? And I don't really care what it is, or if I answer it later or whatever. I just want to make sure that I get all of your questions answered. Okay, so with that, I'm going to just tell you who I am. I already told you my name, and I am a voice teacher. I've been singing professionally since the age of around 14, 15. And I personally started in garage bands singing pop, the pop of that day, of the day. I was in a little band. It was a cover band, and we toured. And then I moved on as I became older and went on to college. I moved on to singing in musicals. I did cruise ships, various other venues. And I self-produced a jazz album that was nominated for a Grammy. So I do have a vocal performance degree as well. So with that, I think we should just get started. And if you have any other questions about me or what I've done or whatever, put it in the chat. In the Q&A, or you can always find me on Take Lessons and ask me then. So let's get started. So the first thing to help you unlock your full singing potential is to get something right. And that's the difference between a voice teacher and a vocal coach. And I really want to let you guys know this, because most people don't know it. And so they get stuck because of it. So let's go through that really quickly. So what you want to do is you want to find a voice teacher, not a vocal coach at first. Okay. You're eventually going to need both. Okay. So to explain the difference between those two, I'm going to give you a basketball analogy, okay? Because everybody goes, I don't understand the difference. So this is the difference. Let's say you wanted to play basketball and you were 9, and you went to school and you went in and you said, I want to learn how to play basketball. And I said, okay. So they would get you into the gym and they would start teaching you basketball technique. right? That's the first thing they're going to do. Or maybe you would do it in the gym class or whatever, but somewhere you're going to first learn basketball technique, right? There's a dribble, there's a certain way you dribble, right? There's a certain way you can dribble and walk now. And then now you want to learn how to dribble and back up. And then you want to learn how to do that shot. And you got all this technique that you have to learn before you can even get in the game, right? So let's say you learn all the technique. Then someone puts you in a game, right? And then you are coached to the win. Okay, that's the difference. It's the same difference in singing. You've got a singing teacher who teaches you technique. The singing technique. There's a technique. How you go from low to high, high to low. How you can make your voice soar. How can you make it be quiet? How you can use and then all the stuff that happens there, the diaphragm, the this, the that, right? All of that is taught by a voice teacher. The coach comes in later as you know how to sing. And let's say you now want to sing jazz. What you're going to have to do when you decide you want to sing jazz is find a vocal coach who knows about jazz. That coach is not going to know anything about vocal technique usually, but they will know everything there is about jazz. I mean, and they're going to sing jazz really, really well. And when you finish, you're going to sound like that. And they're going to coach you to that. That's the difference. So a lot of people come up to me and say, I've been with this teacher for the longest time. I don't seem to feel like I'm progressing. I want to get my range higher. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then I kind of go, that's kind of strange, because usually you would get that. And then eventually I would go, is this person a vocal coach or voice teacher? And they would go, wait a second, is there a difference? Yes. And they're like, I think he calls himself a vocal coach. And I immediately know that's what's up, because the vocal coach job is not to teach you singing. It's to teach you how to really pull over the song, make the song great, how to sound like jazz. Or if you want to sound like country, you would get a country vocal coach. And that person is going to teach you exactly how to sound like country. Okay, so now sometimes the vocal teacher and the coach are one and the same. But when that happens, that teacher will never call herself just a vocal coach. She'll call herself a voice teacher. For me, for example, I'm a voice teacher. But since I have information that I've done, that I've sung professionally, pop, opera, Broadway, right? Gospel. So those are the things that I've sung professionally, or I've sung before, whatever you want to say. And so I can coach you in those areas. So I can teach you how to sing. And then if you pick those kinds of songs, or if that's what you want to sing, I can coach you in that area as well. But if you want to do country, I would have to tell you, listen, I'm going to teach you how to sing, and then you're going to find a country vocal coach. So I hope that kind of clears up everything, because both are needed, not just one. You need the voice teacher and you need a vocal coach if you're going to do this professionally, especially. Okay. So if you have any questions about that, put it in the Q&A, and I'll answer that. But I hope I made that clear. So people have also asked me, well, how do you know the difference? How can you tell? Well, usually people know. They know if they're basically just a coach or if they're a voice teacher. They're going to know. You have to ask them. And you can also tell because a voice teacher will usually have a degree, like a vocal performance degree or something like that, or went to Berkeley, or went to where they learned technique, and that they're now going to teach you. So you can there are ways to find out, keep asking, looking around, all that other stuff, because a good vocal coach is worth her weight or his weight in gold. I mean, they're really quite amazing. So I just want to say that. Okay, let me see. What else do I want to say? Let's talk about other ways to unlock your singing potential other than getting it right, like vocal coach, voice teacher. I mean, that's so important, because you're not going to go anywhere unless you get that right. Okay, so the next thing is the magic of lip trills. Okay, before you turn off the video and say, oh my God, this is going to be so lame. Lip trills, if you don't know what those are, it's the thing that you do when you go, that kind of thing. Almost every voice teacher uses them. They make you do them. And I just want to explain what they're doing because it's really important. And you should probably just know this so that then when they come up with this exercise, you don't blow it off. So there are 5 things basically that you need to be able to do at the same time in order to sing well. Okay. I'm going to show you 2 in this presentation only because we don't have time for all 5. Okay. But there are 5 things. But guess what? When you do a lip trill, all 5 of those things happen without you having to think about it. So the lip trills really do kind of train the body. This is what we need to have happen, right? You want to make that song great, do lip trills. So one of the things that the lip trills do is it engages the diaphragm. Now the diaphragm is a muscle, right? It's the muscle that helps you breathe. It is also the engine to a voice. Without the diaphragm, the diaphragm is everything. It helps you to have more agility in your voice. It helps you to have a bigger voice. I always say the bigger the diaphragm, the bigger the voice. So, and that's because it works like a muscle. It is a muscle. So when you exercise, right, a muscle, it gets bigger. It's the same thing with the diaphragm. You exercise that diaphragm, it gets bigger. And like I said, the bigger the diaphragm, the bigger the voice, the more the agility, the more control you have as a singer. So that muscle has to be engaged, and lip trills are like barbells to the diaphragm. They really are. That's how important it is. And if you ever stop exercising the diaphragm, or if you ever stop exercising it by doing lip trills or singing or whatever, it goes away. It's a muscle. So what happens when you don't go to the gym? Right? For long periods of time, the muscle starts going away. It's the same thing with the diaphragm. So because of that, I used to tell my students to do their lip trills, only that exercise, in the shower, because I got really tired of everybody going on vacation for 2 weeks, not doing anything, and they would come back and you could visibly, not audibly, hear that they lost agility in the voice, because that happens for a young singer. If you've been singing a while, it's not so big of a deal because you can hold that muscle longer. But for a young singer that's just starting, you go and you don't sing for 2 weeks, you're going to notice it when you come back. So I asked them, please do the lip trills in the shower. Why? Because you will hopefully always shower. So you're always doing your lip trills, right? So that's a little trick that I always give everybody. And I'll tell you a little story about that. I had a group of girls. There were about 5 or 6 of them. They were in a group class. I don't do group classes anymore, but I used to. And they were in a group class and they were singing beautifully. They were in there for years. I had them. They grew up. They went off to college. They did whatever. And then about, I don't know how many years ago, they came back, one after the other. They wanted to do the group class again. And it had been 5 years. So I said, okay, all right, I know that this is not going to be good because they haven't been singing in 5 years. And probably the diaphragm is atrophied. There's no more muscle of that diaphragm. So, but that's my job to help them out. So I'll do it. So they came back and I said, okay, everybody get up and one after another sing. And they blew me away. They blew me away. I was like, oh my God, what did you guys do? And one girl got up and said, well, I don't know about you guys, but I still do my lip trills in the shower. And I was like, and then another one got up and said, I do too. And the other one said, me too. So that's what happened, is that they never lost that muscle. And so they were singing like amazing. It's like, so that's how important the diaphragm is, and lip trills to the diaphragm. Okay. So I'm going to give you a demo of those lip trills because I want you to be able to see it. I'm going to share my screen. And then Tom is one of my students who agreed to help me out because of the froggy voice. And he's going to demonstrate the lip trills for you. Now, I want you to notice that he's going to have one hand where his diaphragm begins, which is at the top, like right before the breastbone, the diaphragm is. And you're going to see that diaphragm going in and out because that's what we're trying to exercise with the lip trill. It's kind of like that, okay? So I want you to just watch that movement. Try to do it with him, okay? Guys, you won't have a problem because he's singing in the baritone range, okay? And girls, just sing it an octave higher, okay? And you should be okay. All right, so let me share my screen. And now let's listen to Tom. Here we go, okay? Lip trills. Okay, that was him going up to the top of his range and then coming back down, right? On lip trills. Yeah, so it's just as simple as that. And listen, it does not have to be something crazy, you know? It doesn't have to be all of that. It can be something just as simple as what he did on 3. I'm sorry, he did it on 5. I usually start people out on 3, but yeah, same thing. So just wanted you to know that it can be simple. It doesn't have to be, you know, this crazy exercise that's, you know, that's all over the place. Okay. Second way to unlock your full singing potential. Okay, this is one of the second things that has to happen for you to be able to sing well. We already talked about the diaphragm, it has to be engaged. Use lip trills. Okay, first thing. Second thing, you have to be able to drop your jaw. I know that seems so simple and everything, but without dropping the jaw, you're not going to get much sound out. Now listen, one of the things that the Broadway people and the opera people have is they're able to get out a bunch of sound. Also, the people do gospel. They're able to get out a bunch of sound without doing much because we're not supposed to be singing in our throats, right? It all has to come from the diaphragm. And the second way that you can get a nice big sound without doing much is to get the jaw down. So I'm going to demonstrate it. I have the froggy voice, just forgive me. So I'm going to do this without dropping the jaw. I'm going to sing yaw. Yaw. Okay, now I'm going to sing the same thing with dropping the jaw without any more force. Yaw. Right? Much more force without me having to like yell. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm talking about. The jaw has to be loose and without any tension. So what I do is I usually do this jaw dropping exercise just to get everybody so that their jaw can get loose and they can get sound out. Okay, so I have another demo of Tom doing the yaw exercise. So once again, sing along with him. However, this is the second exercise that I do usually. And we have to keep the diaphragm going. The diaphragm's always going to be going when you're singing because we're going to be singing diaphragmatically. So in this video, you've got to keep the diaphragm going in and out. You'll see his hand there and dropping the jaw. It's a little bit like doing this, right? But there are three other things that you have to be able to do. So you got to get these things down and then you can move on to the other things, okay? So let's listen to him do yaw. Follow along. Once again, girls sing one octave higher, okay? So here we go. I'm sorry. I didn't share my screen, did I? Sorry about that. Let me back up. I couldn't see it. Okay, so let me get into share the screen. Sorry about that. Okay, and now we'll get to Mr. Tom singing Yaw. Yes, going into his top range. I just stopped it because I wanted to. I wanted you to just hear it a little bit. We want to go forever with the exercise, but that is just a simple exercise, just to get the jaw going down. Really, to get people not to be weirded out about how that sounds. I don't really care how it sounds. I care that you're dropping the jaw and the diaphragm's going, and you're doing the technique, because as you're doing that, your sound will get better and better and better and better. But when people start caring about the sound, they start doing weird stuff with their faces and their mouths, and then it becomes clenched, and it's not a good thing. So yeah, that's basically what we need to do. So with that jaw drop, it will really help you in your singing. Now there are some other things that you have to do as well. It's just that we're not going to have enough time to go over all of it. So I'm just going to go over some more things, and then I'll let you hear some other people sing and then give you more examples of stuff. Okay. So I want to talk about my claim that anyone can sing, because there's probably going to be a lot of you who are watching this who are just like, I've always wanted to sing, but this person told me I can't sing. And, and I don't believe in that. I really don't. There are only two times when it's going to be challenging, but you can sing. I feel that if you can talk, you can sing, but you got to be able to talk, right? So I think that the people who get mad at me for saying that are the people who hear that if you can talk, you can sing. Like Whitney Houston, it's like, no, I'm not saying you can sing like Whitney Houston, because to some people, singing equals Whitney Houston, or singing equals Ariana Grande, or whomever they like, Aretha Franklin, or whomever they like. And if you can't sing like those people, then they consider you not to be a singer. Okay. So that has nothing to do with anything but a person's preference. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just being able to sing like you. So I'll give you a little bit of a story. I once had a little girl whose name was Emily, and she came in because she really wanted to learn how to sing. I have a feeling that she came in because she wanted to learn how to sing like Whitney Houston. Okay. I really do. Because when she came in, she was only about, I want to say she's about 10 or 11 maybe. And when she came in, she had a very forward sounding voice, very forward sounding voice. Like, hello, my baby, hello, like really forward like that as a little teeny kid. So I'm sure that she kind of got teased about that. And so she came in to learn how to sing like her friends are like pop. But I don't believe it. I think you should sing like you, right? So when she came in, I listened to that voice and went, wow, she's got a natural Broadway voice. I mean, in order to sing Broadway, you have to have a voice. Well, we should say old Broadway. That's very forward. Broadway requires that. And to get that Broadway sound, let's put it that way. Okay. So she had it naturally at 9. So I started giving her Broadway songs to sing, that sounded like her voice. And slowly but surely, she started liking her voice. But for a long while, she would come in and say, I hate my voice, and to the point where I just said, if you come in another day and say that, I'm going to stop teaching you because you can't hate your voice, right? So I think just that switch of finding her lane, and that's what I call it. I call it that everyone has to find their lane. Whitney Houston's lane is what Whitney Houston does, and nobody can beat her in that lane. Don't you agree? Because she found her lane. But at the same token, nobody can beat Pavarotti out of his lane. I mean, it's his lane, his opera, right? So I knew that we really did something when Emily left the room. We were in the studio at that time. She left the room, and the next little girl came in with her head down. And I was like, what's wrong? And she said, oh, if I could only sing like Emily, right? So I'm just like, wow, isn't that just amazing, right? So everybody has a way that they can sing like them, and it's my job to pull that out of a person. Listen, we don't want everybody sounding the same. It would be a boring, boring world. Let me just put it that way, right? So there are only a couple of times when I would say that it's going to be challenging for someone to sing. One of them is if someone has asthma or lung issues, right? I'm not talking about the person who gets sick or whatever, but something like asthma is a long-term thing. So if someone has asthma or lung issues, that's going to be very, very challenging. I've taught a couple of people and they just never were able to get enough air into their lungs to be able to pull out a consistent sound. So I would say if you have asthma or lung issues, to get that taken care of before you start to sing, if you can. And if not, I would say to find a voice teacher who has specialized in that and knows what to do with it to get you to sing if they can. Okay. The second one is this thing that's called tone deaf. Now, being tone deaf is the reason my critics always, are that not everyone can sing. Listen, what about the tone deaf people? They cannot sing, right? And I want to talk a little bit about that in case someone out there has been told that they're tone deaf and they'll never be able to sing. Okay, it's not that you're tone deaf. People have this wrong. I'm going to tell you what's really happening with people that they call tone deaf. Okay, you see the piano behind me, right? When you hit a key on the piano, what actually happens is you hit the note, and actually before it sounds, you hit the note and a little mallet comes up and strikes a string and comes back out. That's what's happening. Dong, right? Dong. Okay. So the problem is that when that mallet comes up and strikes the strings, on most of the piano, it's not striking one string, it's striking 3. Yes. So those 3 strings make up that one tone. Da is 3 strings. So what's happening with the people we're calling tone deaf is they hear all 3 strings. That's why I don't call them tone deaf. I call them people who have extraordinary hearing, because they can hear. Not only are they hearing all 3 strings, they're also hearing the overtones of those tones, which, I mean, overtones, there's like a million overtones. So sometimes when I ask them, if I hit a note, da, and they go, you know, they don't know which note to sing because they're hearing all of them. So sometimes I ask it, how many do you hear? Like 8 or 10 or more? I'm like, oh my God. So that's what's happening with someone that we're calling tone deaf. They are not. But what's challenging for them is before they can even start on technique, they have to be trained how to sing the note that you're playing. Da, right? You're going to have them narrow down all those tones they're hearing to get to the one that you want them to sing. And sometimes that's just takes a while to do, but it has to be done before you can do it. So it's a little bit challenging. But all the people that I've had who have had extraordinary hearing were very, very hardworking, extremely hardworking people, you know. And I was just like, wow, um, I can't believe that they, you know, would just keep on, you know, trying and trying and trying. And they do. They're extremely resilient people. So I'm going to share with you someone who was has extraordinary hearing, or what you would call it with tone deaf, and you'll hear her sing. And it took her a long time to be able to sing a song. I have to admit. And she has that going on. She also has a very forward sounding voice. Okay, very forward sounding. So once again, we had to find songs that went with that voice. And since she's of Spanish heritage, I don't think it's Spanish, it's Latino heritage. The Latino songs are sometimes very forward sounding. So that's what we ended up giving her, that and some other Broadway things. But anyway, I want you to hear her. So let me share my screen, and then you can hear her. Her name is Carmen Santana. Okay, so let me get it. There, I think you can see this now, right? So have a listen. I hope that's loud enough.
Estaba un sábado noche, iba yo caminando por la calle aburrida. Sé que vi en el suelo, me tropiezo de golpe, mala suerte la mía. Recuperada del susto, me fijo mejor que demonios ha sido. Es una lámpara mágica llena de polvo, con genio incluido. 1000 años llevo esperando que alguien me saque de aquí. Ay, pídeme, pídeme, pide 3 deseos. Los que tú más quieras, yo te los concedo. Sea lo que sea, pide 3 deseos en pago y favor, ya que me he librado de esta maldición. Concentrada pregunto si posible mi sueño de dar la vuelta al mundo. Un instante tan solo, a pedida de frío, aparezco en el polo. Esa mal de aventura y llamo mi genio pidiéndole ayuda. Prefiero estar donde el sol me broncea la piel con palmeras y dunas. ¿Quién ha nombrado el desierto? Me estoy muriendo de sed. Ay, pídeme, pídeme, pide 3 deseos. Los que tú más quieras, yo te los concedo. Sea lo que sea, pide 3 deseos en pago en favor, ya que me he librado de esta maldición.
Oh, that was great. Yes, so that is Carmen. Now, this is someone who was supposedly tone deaf. Okay, so you know how I feel about that. It's like anybody can sing. Okay, so now I just really wanted you to hear her and and for all of you people out there who are just kind of like, I really want to sing, but someone so said I can't sing, you should try to sing anyway. And and when you do, you know, uh, you will at least get the satisfaction of doing something that you love, and accomplishing something. But I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy. You know, Carmen came to me and she said, Arlette, she goes, I found some of my old tapes. So if you guys don't know what that is, back in the olden days, okay, when we were in the studio, I would ask the students to record their lessons so that they could take that home with them each time and practice with it. And so Carmen found some of those old recordings when she first began. And I said, really? Oh, that was great. That must have been a blast, to go through that. She goes, no, oh my God, it was so bad. And I was like, what? She goes, oh my God, Arlette, it was so bad. I just was like, I can't believe I ever sang that badly. And then she looks at me and she goes, why did you take me on? Why didn't you just tell me I can't sing? And I said, because you really wanted to do it, Carmen. And I don't believe that knowing somebody can't sing. And so, anyway, I just really wanted to share that with you. Okay, so listen, we're at the, probably about the half hour mark, which means that I've got to start wrapping this up. So I'm going to do the next 10 minutes or so with questions. If anybody has any questions, I'm going to look down here and see if I can't see what you guys are saying here. I'm going to go through the Q&A section. Okay. Okay, here you are. Okay, so it says here, how long does it take to be able to sing? Actually, that's a good question, because people ask me that all the time. It's like, or I'll get something like, I have a wedding to sing, in 2 months. Can you help me to sing the song? And then when I get them, they have had no singing lessons. I mean, no technique or anything. You have a wedding to do in 2 months, I can coach you to that song. And see, here we go back to our original thing about the difference between a voice teacher and a vocal coach. I can coach you to being able to sing a beautiful, really put over that song where the bride and the groom are so happy with you. But no, I cannot give you technique in 2 months. That's impossible to do. So, and I will tell you that. I don't know if other people will just take your money on that, but I will not. If you can come to me and say, no, I've been taking voice for 20 years and I just want to be able to put the song over, yeah, come on over. I'll help you out on that. The only time that I have been able to get someone to sing quickly was a girl who came to me and she wanted to go to the I think it's called the Music Academy in Paris. But anyway, she wanted to audition for it, and she did not have opera. So that was like, you want me to teach you opera? And I said, when is it? She goes, it's in 6 months. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Even in 6 months. But you want to be able to sing opera so well that you can audition to go to a music school. So she said, it's got to be a way, Arlette. Tell me, what is the way? What would you have to have? And I said, you'd have to take lessons from me 3 times a week. And you would have to eat singing for 6 months. And so that's what she did. And she did. It worked. She made it into that academy. She auditioned for it and, and got in. But that's very unusual. And you see, it would have to be 3 lessons a week. So if you're just going to take 1 lesson a week, I will tell you the truth. It's going to take about 2 years until you start sounding decent. I know the body has to be able to get, okay, so somebody else might look at you and go, no, it's not going to take. Yes, I'm talking about teaching you technique where you have never had technique before. Okay, it's going to take a little bit of time, but once you get it, you're going to sound great. So let me let you listen to Tom. Tom is the one who's been giving you the, the lip trills and the jaw dropping exercise. Tom has been with me for about 2 years, and I'll let you listen to what he sounds like. Because when he came to me, his wife actually wanted him to sing rock. He wanted to sing rock, and so she gave him some voice lessons as a present. And when I heard his voice, I was like, you know what? If you can trust me, I'm going to teach you opera, but when you finish, I swear you'll be able to sing anything. And so he's been working really, really hard. But I want you to listen to him. And let me share my screen again. I can figure out how to do it. Okay. Let me see if I can get back over to him. Yeah, I can. Okay, so let's now share the screen. Goodness. And then you can, why have I lost my, oh, here they are. Okay, share screen. All right, there we go. And let me get over to, that was the last one, right? So I wasn't expecting to do this, but let me get his Santa Fe. So listen to this song. It's a Broadway song, okay? It's a Broadway song. Broadway is not easy to sing, number one. Number two, he is a baritone, right? And he wasn't able to even reach the top of the baritone range. And then he wanted to do this song, Santa Fe, which is a tenor song. So he's working on this song, but he sounds really good with it. I mean, I have to say he sounds good because I really love hearing him sing this song. So take a listen. What do you think?
So that's what they call a family, for the daughter, father, son. Guess that everything you heard about is true. So you ain't got any family, but who said you needed one? Ain't you glad nobody's waiting up for you? When I dream on my own, I'm alone, but I ain't lonely. For a dreamer, night's the only time of day when the city's finally sleeping, all my thoughts begin to stray, and I'm on the train that's bound for Santa Fe. And I'm free, like the wind, like I'm gonna live forever. It's a feeling time can never take away. All I need's a few more dollars, and I'm out of here to stay. Dreams come true, yeah they do, in Santa Fe. Where does it say you gotta live and die here? Where does it say a guy can't catch a break? Why should you only take what you're given? Why should you spend your whole life living trapped where there ain't no future? Even at 17, breaking your back for someone else's sake. If life don't seem to suit ya, how about a change of scene? Far from the lousy headlines and the deadlines in between. Santa Fe, are you there? Do you swear you won't forget me? If I found you, would you let me come and stay? I ain't getting any younger, and before my dying day, I want space, not just air. Let them laugh in my face, I don't care. Say the place, I'll be there. So that's what they call a family. Ain't you glad you ain't that way? Ain't you glad you got a dream called Santa Fe?
Peace. I love that song. He does it so well. Okay, you guys. Um, I don't have anything else, but let me just let you know it's been a pleasure to be with you today. A true pleasure. Thank you so much for being here, for giving me your time, as I know everyone's time is valuable right now. And I hope that I was able to give you information that you can use to go forward now and find the voice teacher or vocal coach of your dreams. If you want to know how to get in touch with me, you can always do so through Take Lessons. And you can either go into Take Lessons and then do a Google search for me, or if you look in the chat right now, you should see a link, and that's a link to my profile. And you can always go in there and you can ask me questions if I didn't answer something that you wanted here, okay? And I'll be more than happy to answer it. So right now, I won't say goodbye. I'll just say goodbye for now, and I will see you next time.